In a world where the frozen tundra of the NFC North claims no mercy, a young QB sensation unleashes a miracle in the blizzard at Soldier Field. A heart-stopping throw to force overtime, only to shatter dreams with crushing interceptions. The Rams march on. The Bears' season ends in agony. Yet, the war never stops. 10 head coaches fall in the greatest purge the league has ever seen. Those thrones are vacant. Empires in flux. Yet, Chicago's fire burns bright. Detroit hungers for redemption. Green Bay schemes in the shadows, and Minnesota stands defiant. This is the NFC North. This is survival. This is destiny. Welcome to Who Will Be King, the ultimate roundup. The crown awaits in 2026. Who will seize it? We'll find out next. Let the battles begin. And here we are today. I'm joined by my fellow NFC North comrades. 2 other teams. The third one, they're too scared to even think about joining us, so they don't. Foster, representing Bleachers to Speakers and the Detroit Lions. How are things in Detroit?
Cold and snowy.
It is wintertime.
Yes, it is.
For the time being.
Speaking of cold and snowy, Pay, did you go to the game and see that absolute miracle throw of Caleb Williams to get it to overtime?
If I could afford tickets to every game in which he's going to throw a miracle pass, I'd be broke. Even with a name like Pay, I'd be broke because it seems like he's doing this every week by now. But well, welcome to the off season. How you all been doing? I hope you all kept my seat warm.
Yes, we did. And it makes it official for the NFC North. They are out of the playoffs. We have the NFC Championship game this weekend, which we'll get to at the very end. But tell us about that game against the Rams.
Well, I did go into this game with a house money sort of feel, right? Because being in the divisional round, winning the NFC North, first year head coach, whole new coaching staff, second year quarterback, and if you think about it, the way the season started, 0-2 after getting our bell rung, our ears stumped together by the Detroit Lions, all the confusion, I guess, during training camp. If you'd have told me at that point, like, yeah, you've been in divisional round in overtime against the presumptive NFC favorite, I would have said, nah, you're on bath salts, my boy. That's not going to happen. But here we are. Expectations changed, and unfortunately, Dave, I came out of that game feeling a little. We left some money on the floor. We left Church's money on the floor because once again, we had a shot. The Bears had a shot to win that game. So you never want to just, leave that ago. The NFL is, you all know what it stands for. Dave being a 14-win team last season, Foster covering the Lions 15 wins last season. NFL, not for long. There was an opportunity here for the Bears to really do something. They had the Rams on the hook. They had them beat, in my opinion. And in a season where there's no real world beaters, there's no Pat Mahomes, there's Josh Allen, he fumbled in the overtime yet again. There's no Lamar Jackson in this playoffs. There's no real dominant squad. You can't say that you can't beat them. So it is what it is. There was an opportunity there for the Bears. So left a bad taste in your mouth, no Diddy. So it's you kind of come at it from that angle, but it is what it is, I guess, at this point, after having, 72 hours to distance yourself from it. But great game. It wasn't as cold as they forecasted it to be, which is usually how it is with meteorologists. It's a shot in the dark. It may snow, it may not. It may be 80 degrees. It may snow. You never know with those guys. But it wasn't as cold. It was actually colder the day before and the day after the game. As I said, the pass that got us to overtime was simply crazy. I've done that play plenty of times, just not in real life. I've done it plenty of times on Madden. That's how crazy that play was. We're in the red zone. He just starts running backwards towards the other opposite end zone. Full sprint. I'm like, you know what? That's our season. All right, he's gonna throw it into the stands. All right, let me start working on this. Our instant reaction videos, and I'm getting up out of my chair, and then it so happens. So what so happens is Kmet is just wide open for a basket catch in the end zone. Like, oh my God, he did it again. Caleb is crazy, and that's every week we're asking ourselves, is that his best pass of his career? To that point, I'm happy with that. If we're going to keep redoing that list every week, I'm happy with that. But like I said, this game should have won it. There was, as they say, miscommunication between receiver and quarterback that ended the season. Defense, you can't ask your defense to hold Puka Nacua and Matt Stafford forever, right? You held them for 60 minutes, and then you give them another 15 minutes. You got to hold them. They held them for one drive in the overtime. You got to do it again. That's a lot on the defense, even the defense for what the Bears put out there for this season. So we got to live with that reality. We didn't get what we could have gotten out of that game. But again, we shouldn't have been there in the first place, given everything that we started the season with. So from that perspective, I would look at it glass half full versus glass half empty.
Well, I saw that Courtney Cronin from ESPN, who covers the Bears, said it should be a relatively happy ending, per se, and that the reason being, you found your quarterback. You proved that he can be developed, which is scary for the rest of the NFC North. We wanted Caleb Williams to go down the long list of Chicago Bears quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. But you still had some issues there at the end. A wide receiver not squaring it off, slowing down. You had, a defense that isn't, I don't think, one of the best, not even close to one of the best in the league. They did play better as the season went on. You guys won 11 games in a row, for Pete's sake. And, but things look bright in Chicago, is what I'm saying. It's bad for the rest of the NFC North, but it looks bright in Chicago. And that's a first time in decades for you guys. You guys were fun to watch this last season. From a non-fan, put it that way. You guys were having heart attacks. I got that. But it was an entertaining season from those of us looking in at it versus those participating in it. So I congratulate you. But yes, we're now on to the off season on the 2026 for the whole NFC North.
Yeah, I was I've been in those blue sky Reddit thread streets arguing with those that team that's not represented here. In fact, sidebar, we should rebrand the show as the Packers most hated, you know. But I've been in those streets because, you know, they had a lot to say after the game. And I had one quick question, and this is a segue to what you just said up there, Dave. I wondered, since the Packers have been on draft prep for a while, who are you all drafting in the first round? Oh, my fault. You're drafting nobody.
Damn.
Hey, it is what it is. It couldn't happen to a better team. But they did. We'll get into coaching here momentarily. They did extend Matt LaFleur to a multi-year contract. I didn't see how long it was or how much.
We all like that, don't we?
Yes. With the fans calling for him to be fired, they extended him, I think I read, where it's like 5 years. Well, we'll see how that goes.
Wow.
But, hey. Here, Tom says Packers have nothing else going on in their lives but their team, and we all know it. Yes, that's true, Tom. That and drinking beer and eating shit.
They have Wisconsin Dells. That's the Dells, the Packers, and tugging on the udders of a cow. That's about it.
So
quite the trifecta.
All right. Well, thanks for the recap. Foster, what did you think of the game?
It was a good game. I think that it was a weather affected, low scoring game, which kind of played into the hands of the Bears. I think that the Rams just showed the versatility and balance to kind of, you know, combat the fact that, you know, it was going to be difficult to get things going through the air. You know, Kyron Williams had a pretty good game, and ultimately the inaccuracies of Caleb kind of hurt them. You know, he did have 3 interceptions. I think that throw could have been one of those career defining. I mean, it's still going to be a throw that we'll remember, but obviously it would have been more memorable had they been able to, complete the win. But he's definitely got some things to clean up in order to, you know, continue to ascend to get better. Because I think that those Hail Mary throws are it's not sustainable to be able to continue in that fashion. But all in all, a successful year for them. I don't think that in anybody's predictions, you know, we have them being a first place team and making it as far as they did. So nothing to be ashamed of, for sure. But you know, good game, and we'll see what how far the Rams can take this, if they can, you know, knock off the next opponent, which we'll talk about, I'm sure.
We will. Now, did you think Ben Johnson was going to go for 2 after the throw to Kmet for the score?
I think that would have. It didn't cross my mind, but at the same time, it wouldn't have surprised me. I think he said, "Hey, we got away with that one." I mean, that thing ended up being a 13-yard pass? All you know, when it was all
54 yards in the air, 13 yards.
Yeah, 14. Yeah, and how far did he have to run back? So certainly
it was 30-some.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he said, "All right, well, just
threw off his back foot." It was unbelievable.
His playmaking ability is nothing.
Mahomesian,
yeah, I would say, and that's always been the comparison. So, But yeah, that was pretty. So I think that after that, he said, you don't want to test your luck too much. I mean, did anybody see a push off by Kmet there?
No, he had been separated for a while.
It's not the type of push off there where you have the extension and the where you're actually using your leverage to get away from the defender. They were bonded, doing some hand. Yeah, they were engaged. They were doing some hand fighting. Then they go in. Hey, the ball's right here.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Hey, did you expect to go for 2 for the win?
It could have went either way. But I agree with the coach there. He said our goal-to-goal situation so far in that game has been ass. We had been failing in being able to convert on short yardage downs all game. So in that respect, I agree with the decision. Did I expect them to do it? Like I said, it could have went either way for me. Just based on how Ben likes to coach, we went for it on 4th down 12 times in the playoffs. But the old adage, you go for the win on the road. At home you can kick the extra point. So I did not disagree with the decision, and like I said, if he had decided to go for it too, I probably wouldn't disagree with that either.
Did you disagree with the going for it on 4th down at least 3 times in field goal range? And not getting it?
The first time, yes, because we were so close. I would have preferred you to take those points there because, one, you are playing the Rams, and they have one of the most elite offenses in NFL history. Passing leader, catch leader, reception touchdown leader. So you probably want to put something on the board so you can give your defense I guess the edge and put the pressure back on them to come down there and score. After he kept doing it, not so much because again, this has been Johnson. We hired him for a specific reason, and this is who you got. So I'm rolling with the coach that we got.
You sound like us last year, where we just like, hey, this is what we signed up for,
Yeah. Hey. You live by it. I'm happy when they work. I can't be mad when they don't.
Hey, you guys had a good season. And like I said, I think things look bright in Chicago to the detriment of the rest of the NFC North. But it just makes the NFC North tougher, which is a good thing.
If they can find a way to beat us, because they did not do that.
Well, they got to beat the Vikings, too.
Okay.
3 out of the last 4.
That's facts. Okay, all right. If you live by the gun, die by the gun. 3 out of the last 4, the Bears have lost to the Lions. I've said the exact same thing to the Packers fans routinely the last 10 days. So, all right, I will give you that.
Thank you. I didn't want to put up a fight. I was hoping you didn't put up a fight on that.
About to say, what is it for the Vikings? It's 3 out of 4 at least, if not 4. Oh, for 4.
It's 3 out of the last 4.
Yeah.
Did the Vikings have won?
Yeah.
Damn. How did this happen? How did we get here?
I know, Foster. The whole division inverted, which was weird. And for you and me, it's probably because of injuries, but we'll see. Speaking of which, it's time to get a break. Stretch your calves out. Fix that arm, fix that shoulder. And we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back right after these messages.
And whoa. And okay.
And we're back. Sorry about that. I had one of the wrong buttons pushed. All right, we just got done talking about the Bears losing over the weekend on Sunday. Now it's time to talk the results of the 2025 season and how it's led to a historic 10 coaches fired or released. The head coach searches are still ongoing. Some have already been filled. We're going to talk about it. I call this segment Musical Chairs because a lot of it is just that. We have head coaches fired. Atlanta Falcons fired Raheem Morris. Giants, Brian Daboll. Browns, Kevin Stefanski. Raiders, Pete Carroll. Cardinals, Jonathan Gannon. Dolphins, Mike McDaniel. Ravens, John Harbaugh after 18 years. Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin stepped down after 18 years, I believe, 19 years, pardon me.
19.
Titans, Brian McClanahan, or McCallan. And the Bills, which was the big shocker, Sean McDermott, after they lost in the playoff game. So far, hirings confirmed. Kevin Stefanski to Atlanta. John Harbaugh signs with the Giants. Dolphins hired Jeff Hafley, defensive coordinator of the Packers. And the Titans are expected to hire Robert Saleh, from what I'm gathering. Have you heard any other news on any of the other hires, whether it be the Raiders, the Bills, Pittsburgh?
So Pittsburgh, there's some rumblings going around that they might actually be hiring Mike McCarthy to fill their head coaching vacancy in an attempt to, again, try to, attempt to bring Aaron Rodgers back, convince him to come back, and I guess go for it again, like in a last dance type effort, as if they're in a championship window. I disagree, but we can have difference of opinion there. And there's another one, the Robert Saleh thing that you mentioned.
Uh-huh.
Is that final yet? Because
no, I don't think so.
It's not.
Because I think that's really musical chairs, like you said, because
finalized.
You have Robert Saleh attached to that job. Also, Matt Nagy, former Bears head coach and offensive coordinator, two-time offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs, was rumored for that job as well. And so, which is also, again, in the musical chairs thing, Eric Bieniemy was supposed to be taking over as the Bears running back coach. He's supposed to be taking over as offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs. So I don't know. It's a lot of moving pieces there.
It is. There's a lot of coaches moving around, which is weird. But okay, and I haven't heard of any up and coming college coach this go around.
Well, there's Cignetti I know he's been rumored. I've known some teams were interested in waiting until after the championship game in order to talk to him. But he's never intimated that he was interested in going anywhere in a professional game. But they always say that. So all you gotta do is drop a Scrooge McDuck drop a bag of gold coins, and we see what happens. But there's always I think this is another year where people are trying to get Marcus Freeman out of Notre Dame. So
okay.
Other than that, yeah, you're right.
Now, congratulations to the Hoosiers for winning the Natty this year, and a heck of a turnaround for that program.
Historic.
So, but I find it interesting that, first off, that there has never been this many head coaches fired or released in one season as it is this year.
What do you think that
amazing? We've come close, but never this many.
What do you think is the cause for this?
I think it's the whole we want it now mentality.
Mm. Mm.
You got a bunch of owners that are getting older that don't have time to wait. There's a whole impatience about developing QBs or the team. They want it now.
I can see that. I think some of the young coaches who've come in and had immediate success, Ben Johnson being for one, Liam Cohen over there in Jacksonville, it kind of puts the pressure on guys like Sean McDermott and some of the other guys. The two AFC North vacancies, not talking about Cleveland because they're their own musical chairs. Pittsburgh and Baltimore, it was just time for those two guys. It was as the Baltimore Ravens owner Biscotti said, even if Harbaugh and the Ravens had made the playoffs, it was just for one more week. They were going to move on regardless because they didn't have much confidence in this team actually winning, doing anything necessary. And same thing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They haven't won a playoff game in 10 years. It was about that time. Over there in Las Vegas with Pete Carroll, the guy's like 98 years old. So I don't even know what was the point of even hiring him to begin with. So I think there was just like a confluence of events that just brought up 10 vacancies. And this is, like you said, it's a unique situation. It's like there's no hot names out there. There's no Ben Johnson. There's no Liam Cohen. There's no Marcus Freeman who's actually saying he's available. You're going to have a lot of fresh faces getting these jobs, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm. I find it extremely interesting to watch. Now, with some of these coaches playing musical chairs, it's opening up slots, not only in the previous squad, but we're going to be finding out that OCs and DCs and O-line coaches and everybody else are going to be needed and move around here in the next few weeks, which I find absolutely fascinating, how these teams will construct themselves and how they will go about finding an identity for 2026. It is including Foster. You guys hired a brand new offensive coordinator.
Yes, we did.
Tell us about him.
It wasn't the guy I didn't want you to get.
Right. Yeah. His name is Drew Petzing. He definitely wasn't the sexy pick that everybody was looking for. We were all we had our eyes on Mike McDaniel, who I think reports came out that wasn't a good fit. Essentially, is what they said. But Drew Petzing is actually came out of the. He was up under Kevin Stefanski for some time, while he was in Cleveland. He was I think he was a QB coach and a tight end coach in Cleveland. And most recently, he was an offensive coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals. Also a very close friend of Ben Johnson. I think he was actually stood in his wedding. So that was some interesting news, but he definitely accomplished some things in Arizona. He was a big part of the development of Trey McBride, who had an all-pro season, and also Michael Wilson, who kind of came out of nowhere. And this was with James Conner missing a ton of games. Kyler Murray missed a bunch of games. So it was a pretty undermanned group. His philosophy is a heavy usage with the running back, which was very apparent last year when James Conner was actually healthy, but also heavy emphasis on the tight end position, which kind of speaks to how good of a year that McBride had. So that should bode well for a lot of the talent that we have. Obviously, having two very good running backs and Sam Laporta, if he can get back healthy and back on the field. So I think that.
Is there questions about that for Laporta?
I've seen. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how if it's as serious as some people are making it out to be. Obviously, it was a pretty long-term season-ending injury, but I don't think there's any firm, idea that it.
What was the
It
injury
could.
again?
Oh, that's a good question.
ACL or something?
Because this is news to me because I had already started doing my fantasy prep and I had him high after that offensive coordinator hire.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no. It was back herniated disc in his back.
Herniated disc. Yeah. That can linger.
It can, or it can heal up in 6 weeks if he stays off of it and doesn't do anything stupid and lift something that he's not supposed to.
Yeah, I mean, it says as of right now, his timeline is to be ready for training camp. So, still might be. He should be worth picking in your fantasy league, but yeah. So
go ahead and I'll leave it for you.
But so Dan Campbell definitely swung and missed on the first attempt at OC hire. So with some people are saying that it's another testament to Brad Holmes wanting to be the smartest man in the room. So I don't think he can afford to mess it up the second time. We certainly don't want a situation once again where he's calling the plays in the second half of the season. So let's hope that he gets it right. But as far as his philosophy matching with the hire, I think it does. So we'll see.
Well, let's hope he has Napoleon complex because he's a diminutive man.
Yeah, I wasn't going to talk about it yet, but we did some extensive research there, and yeah, he's smaller than Kyler Murray, which who can really say that?
How long was he the OC in Arizona?
2 seasons.
2 seasons. So all of Marvin Harrison Jr.'s career. Is underwhelming.
Yeah.
Career. Huh.
Yeah.
I'll file that away for later. How he works with wide receivers. His offense may just be funneled to the tight end. We shall see.
Well, I did talk about the Michael Wilson. I mean, I don't think he was high on everybody's radar going into the season, but that may be something to speak on as far as Marvin Harrison is concerned, because there were successful tight ends, and mind you, Jacoby Brissett was the main quarterback this year. It wasn't their starting quarterback. So,
indeed. Well, he was the starting quarterback after Arizona said, we're done with Kyler. So, Brissett, your show.
Yeah.
Now, Pay, you haven't heard of any staff changes in Chicago, have you?
Other than Eric Bieniemy, there hasn't been anything, I guess, set in stone for anything. I know there's some rumblings about offensive coordinator Declan Doyle maybe interviewing for some maybe getting some head coaching looks. Again, we just talked about it with all these openings. It's definitely going to be the time for a lot of new guys to get their shot, because there isn't any. who are you going to hire? Bill Belichick? No one wants him anymore. Yeah, so there's been talks about Declan Doyle maybe. There's always been the Al Harris speculation, and the who else? I'm blanking on somebody's name. But in any case, I don't expect the Bears to lose their defensive coordinator Dennis Allen. I don't expect that to happen. But as far as that, no. The Bears, their staff should be pretty much the same going forward. If they lose Declan Doyle, I'm happy. I'm happy for him. Go make some history, young man. But it wouldn't be the biggest loss in the world, seeing as how it's Ben Johnson's the maestro on the offense. So I can sleep. I can rest well with that one. Losing Eric Bieniemy, if that does happen, that would be a big loss. Again, it was just a whole turnaround for this team after September. The running game started the season terrible, and then Eric Bieniemy got that thing cooking. So I would. It would be a big loss for the Chicago Bears offense to lose Eric Bieniemy, but Eric Bieniemy's due a head coaching job. If he can get back to offensive coordinator, then I guess get back into the head coaching cycle a year or 2 years from now. All power to him. But other than that, if Al Harris is still here, out for those who don't know, former Packer Al Harris, former defensive backs coach for the Dallas Cowboys, and I guess he was with the Detroit Lions too, right? He is the defensive backs coach for the Chicago Bears. Oh, not Amon-Ra St. Brown, but Antoine Randall. He's been getting some other names, getting some other talks for offensive coordinator looks as well. So I have not heard anything about those two names solid yet, but those have been rumored the last few months. Stay tuned for that.
It'll be fun to watch over the next few weeks as staffs start to fill out once all the head coaches fall into place. Now, we talked about how Matt LaFleur got an extension on his contract and that he lost Jeff Hafley to the Dolphins, Hafley being their defensive coordinator, and a pretty good one, especially once they traded for the kid from Dallas. It is
Parsons.
Micah. He's been generally a top 10 defensive coach. It's going to be interesting to see who Matt LaFleur will choose to replace him. There's some internal candidates, DeMarcus Covington, their D-line and run game coordinator, D-line coach and run game coordinator, Derek Ansley, their pass game defensive back guy. And then there's some external ones that they're trying to schedule interview for. Christian Parker, the Eagles DB coach and pass game coordinator. Durante Jones, Minnesota Vikings DB coach and pass game coordinator. Jonathan Gannon, the former head coach of the Cardinals as well. Other potential ones, Brian Flores. I hope not. I don't think Brian Flores was. If he moves on to become DC in Green Bay, there is definitely something that happened in Minnesota, and which I will be on top of, hopefully, to figure out exactly what that is. Raheem Morris.
You can, you did say something probably happened, but as a team can block a coach from interviewing for his own position with another team. So
under contract, right?
If they're under contract, they can.
Oh,
Brian
he's not
Flores'
under contract.
Contract expired on the 14th.
Oh,
he's a free agent coach.
He's good.
See ya.
They're going to give him the money he wants in Minnesota, though, right? So regardless.
That's if he doesn't get hired as a head coach. Things are leaning he'll come back and he'll get what he asked for originally last year, and probably a few million more dollars in the process.
If the Steelers don't hire him, they are fools.
I agree, but I'm hearing Mike McCarthy just as well as you are.
Fools. Fools.
Yeah, especially if the rationale is keeping the championship window open with Aaron Rodgers. Like that's the one that jumped. That's the part that threw me off.
I don't know what they see. They're not winning any championships.
But they're also possible Raheem Morris or Jim Leonard. Now, speaking of Minnesota, Brian, we just talked about Brian Flores. Brian Flores he had interviews with the Ravens, obviously did get that. And he went back for his second interview yesterday with the Steelers. Supposedly went well from all I heard. But as of today, I'm hearing they're leaning towards Mike McCarthy. Okay, great. Now, he's had interest in moving as a DC. Washington Commanders interviewed him for a DC position. Haven't heard how that went. There's also speculation as a head coach that the Raiders might, but they'd never made a call. And there's speculation that Dallas might, but we'll see. We don't know. But if I'm betting if he isn't selected by the Steelers, he'll come back to Minnesota. At least that's what I'm hoping. But as in T-Bass says, the good old boys don't take kindly to lawsuits. Yeah, you could be right, T-Bass. But it was the Rooneys that hired him in the first place. So, Go Pack Go asks, how did the Bears lost but won? Go Pack Go, you should have been here from the beginning. The reason they won is they've identified their franchise quarterback. They proved they can develop him.
The handle tells me everything I need to know.
They kind of tricked you into having to say that. It's like that was a troll.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
They're going to be tough in the division.
Worry about it.
Go Pack Go.
Do not focus on what the Bears got going on. Focus on that. Focus on that draft.
And finding your next defensive coordinator that isn't a former Minnesota Viking. But it's going to be interesting when it comes to B-Flow. Now, also, speaking of former Minnesota Vikings, Durante Jones is plan B for the Vikings, an internal candidate, our DB coach and pass game coordinator, and the most obvious one to replace B-Flow. But he's gotten defensive coordinator interviews all over the place. So we may have to go to plan C, which is if we lose both B-Flow and Durante, then we got to immediately switch to go plan C and make a ton of phone calls. And then I'm hoping with that, the first one will be to Raheem Morris to replace B-Flow. But we'll see. Yes, Go Pack Go. Caleb Williams did have a lot of mistakes. He's only in his second year as a quarterback. What did Jordan Love do in his second year? Pull splinters out of his backside?
No, they don't have wooden benches in Green Bay, do they? They've got the
fiberglass
those
ones.
yeah. Those play school sets.
Go Pack Go says the Bears are about to lose a lot of players. We'll get into that probably next week as we look at free agency and stuff like that. We start that process. But it's real interesting to see who could be possible candidates for Minnesota if we do not retain Brian Flores, have him re-sign with us. Like I said, my number one choice is Raheem Morris, but there's Jonathan Gannon, Jim Leonard, Christian Parker, and such. Now, also with Minnesota, we released yeah, Go Pack Go. Jordan Love was developing. Caleb Williams did it on the field and made the playoffs. So, one of the things we did is we didn't renew the contract of Chris Cooper. I think I mentioned it last week, our O-line coach. We have not started the search that I've heard of for his replacement. However, there is a prime target, and that is the former O-line coach for the Falcons, because Kevin Stefanski has already said he's bringing in Callahan, I believe, or trying for that, one of the godfathers of O-line coaching. So he'll replace Ledford. Callahan will, and Ledford will be available, and I hope we pursue him. Mm-hmm. Falcons our offensive lines, once he took over, finished 4th in 2023, 14th in 2025, top 15 in 4 of the last 5 seasons, despite injuries. I would be highly encouraged if we did, but we'll find out. Seems Minnesota's on their own time for some reason, whether it be the 50 below wind chill factors or having trouble getting around town.
Do you think they Harbaugh and Stefanski shot themselves in the foot by accepting jobs before the playoffs ended? Because now coaching Josh Allen is now available, and now Stefanski's down there coaching. Who's the quarterback for Atlanta?
Kirk Cousins.
Look,
Cousins, Penix.
Yeah.
Now, Stefanski worked with Cousins before. There's the obvious tie there.
Yeah, but so here's the thing.
Yeah,
you don't want Cousins to be your quarterback.
Oh, I agree. Go Pack Go. Is J.J. McCarthy still the guy? As for now, because he's the only one on our roster that deserves it. Will that change? Possible. Brosmer needs years worth of development. He needs the Jordan Love treatment.
It's a fun name to say, though.
There's you talked about Harbaugh. One of the reasons Harbaugh signed so quick, 5 years, $100 million.
Yeah, that'll do it. He's tied for the highest paid coach now until Andy Reid walks into the office and say, "Hey, no, can't have that."
I'm going to open up the new stadium. I need more.
I didn't know NFL coaches were making that much. Oh my God,
$20 million a year, highest paid.
Yeah, so screw being in Buffalo.
No, I think having Josh Allen as your quarterback is job security. Jackson Dart,
he was upset
and
his coach got released.
Did you all see? Well,
he's an employee.
I think it was what was it? A week or two ago, we talked, Dave, when we was doing the show. I said I'm not going to be shocked when Sean McDermott gets fired, because when they don't, it's Super Bowl or bust for them. But did you see his exit interview with the press conference? Rather, he said, "Well, simply put, we didn't have enough talent on the roster," and he was fired immediately after that. Owner, GM, they said, "Oh, you gonna throw this on us? All right, interview over. You in my office."
All right, now Go Pack Go asks, how would you feel if Darnold wins the Super Bowl? That leads us straight into the question of the day. Who have you got for the NFC Championship game? The Rams or the Sea Chickens? It's supposed to be, I think, 47 and almost sunny or something like that.
That's South Beach compared to Chicago. Well, they just put it in.
I'll take 50 degrees in a heartbeat right now. Yeah, as you said, it's as of right now, the weather's supposed to be near 50. The Seattle Seahawks, the number 1 seed in the NFC, is a 2.5-point fave with the 12th man. I think they split this season.
I believe so. I know the one Thursday night game or whatever the night game they had was amazing.
Yeah. At this point, I have no reason to believe that Seattle won't maul them. Just based on, they did split. Just based on how, actually, their games have been really close. 3 points in 2 games. That's the margin. Wow. So Seattle's on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're on an 8-game winning streak. That is crazy. And the way they've been playing lately, I can't see LA winning. LA's been a little bit of how can I say this without being disrespectful? They've been a little up and down lately. I think in their last 6 games, I think they're 3-3 maybe in their last 6 games, something like that. Seattle's just playing a lot better. Now, there are questions to the viewers' point. There's still questions about Sam Darnold if he can do it in a big game. We shall find out. This is the biggest game of his career.
Mm-hmm. And to answer his question directly, how do I feel? I'm happy for Sam.
Yeah, y'all got rid of him or whatever. So
yeah, and that was the plan. We gave him an offer,
right.
a real similar one to the one he got, but we gave him an offer
to be the backup.
It's just that we were going to plan on starting JJ McCarthy, and he took the better offer because he got the starting gig, and he's turned out to make the most of it. There's no hard feelings between Sam Darnold and the Vikings organization, and most of the fans, there's no hard feelings. Sam didn't abuse us, did not disrespect us as fans. He was a good quarterback. It was a decision made by the Vikes, and most of the fans agreed with it at the time. We expected further development from JJ McCarthy. Hopefully we get it this season. Coming up. And yes, Seahawks defense is just, it rocks.
Yeah. Yeah, which
I think
almost I think that is an important factor in choosing a winner. I think I don't know what how Sam Darnold is as far as his injury, because he was questionable going into the game, and they were able to lean on Kenneth Walker, who I think had 3 touchdowns in that game. I can't anticipate that would be the same. But if it comes down to quarterback play, I'm not mad at anybody that goes with the Rams, and that's kind of where I'm leaning as far as the status of Sam Darnold and because Kenneth Walker didn't have a great year, certainly had an exceptional game, so they can't lean on that 2 weeks in a row, in my opinion.
Yeah, Kenneth Walker was the beneficiary of Zach Charbonnet getting hurt. So three tutties, and they blew the doors off of San Francisco, early. So it made it easy for, as you said, Sam Darnold to nurse his oblique injury. So it made it easy for him. Yeah, well, the Rams are a different beast to that point. They have a very strong front seven. Well, let me not say front seven. Let me just say their front four. They can come after you. So if Darnold isn't healthy, that oblique is going to get a lot of tests because you're going to do a lot of twisting. They're trying to get away from those Jared Verse and Young and the rest of those boys.
That's what Toradol
is going to be. Yeah, you're right.
Hey, does Chance go to the Super Bowl or not?
Shoot me up.
But so Foster, you pick the Rams. Pay, you pick the Sea Chickens.
I'll take Seattle.
Yeah, I agree with Pay. I'm going to take Seattle on this one. But it should be a good game. It should be a great game. Now, the other game, the AFC Championship, which gets played before the NFC Championship, is New England, and Drake May travels out to Denver to play Mr. Stedman.
No, that's Oprah's man.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding. That might be right.
But
it's Stedman.
But since Bo Nix broke his ankle, second to last play of the last game, he's out for the season. He underwent surgery yesterday. From all I gather, it went well. I think this one is New England all the way.
I don't know what the line is right now. Let me check a look. But yeah, I agree. But I would take New England right now, just based on the situation that Denver finds themselves in. But don't count out Stidham just yet. Stidham is probably one of the better backup quarterbacks. They got him at a 5-point dog. That's probably fair. And the way the Denver Broncos defense has been the last month hasn't been exactly playing up to their standard. I would take New England, maybe not in a rout because New England's been sloppy themselves, but maybe 9 points.
Foster?
Yeah, New England.
Okay. Well, folks, I think we're going to call it a day. Any last words there, Pay?
Other than, my standard FGB, but no, let's get down to work.
What do you guys got coming up on your channel?
Well, we had at the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel, we do have to do a one-off for the 2025 season, talk about the highs and the lows and where we go from there before we get into any draft type coverage or free agent talk. But that will be showing up on your feed sometime in the next few days for that type of episode. Other than that, we are ramping up basketball shows and starting up that baseball talk. Pitches and catches report in less than 6 weeks.
Ooh.
About that time, Cubs and unfortunately White Sox got to talk. Yeah, I can dig it.
Foster, you got any last words?
Just subscribe to the channel, Bleachers to Speakers, which is where we cover the Pistons, Lions, and Tigers. We've kind of transitioned over to Corner to Copa. It's got its own channel at this point, but Pistons holding it down.
Okay, cool. You got any shows coming up?
Oh, we still have not got around to doing our ranking of the last 5 draft picks, but that is likely to be the next episode as far as the Lions are concerned. And then, of course, we do a Central Division show every Monday. I think I'm hosting this week, or we'll figure that out. But yeah, Central Division show every Monday, and I'm definitely hosting this upcoming Wednesday on this show.
Cool. Well, that's awesome. Now, for Vikings First and SKOL, I'm in the middle of an edit of the next SKOL search where we're looking at linebackers, 3 linebackers. That should come out hopefully later tonight or tomorrow. And 2 old bloggers is moving to Sundays. We'll be at 11 o'clock this Sunday. And we'll probably stay at that time till after the Super Bowl when we move to 4 o'clock on Sundays. Now, Tyler's got a show on tomorrow night, Thursday night, the Real 4-0 show. And then he gets ready to head down to Mobile for the Panini Senior Bowl. He'll be there all week. So, should be fun. So what do they say in Detroit? Fuck.
One pride.
One pride. That's right. One pride. What do they say in Chicago, Bay?
We say bear down. We've got the quarterback.
Yes, you do. And, of course, in Minnesota, we say SKOL Vikings. Well, thank everybody for watching. Like, subscribe, and rate us on your favorite podcast aggregator. Thank you for listening to this NFC North group effort on the Fans First Sports Network. This has been a Frustrated Chicago Sports Fans, Bleachers to Speakers, Vikings First and SKOL, and of course, the Fans First Sports Network production. Thank you for listening.